I recently bought a new vacuum, Pulse Back. It's quite a machine. It's got a pretty hefty price on it too, but it does work really well. But the only drawback that I can see is that it didn't have a mobile base. It's got wheels on the back so that you can move it and cart it around, but once you stand it up, it stays put. And I want a base underneath it that it can float basically around the shop and follow me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a base for it, and then also a place to store the accessories. I'll have pins on it so that these things can just fit around the vacuum. So that's my next project. But the problem was I gave my old router to my son, and I need to build a circular base. So I've got a Festool router that I purchased a while back, the OF2200, and I want to use it to cut my circle. And I've got two cuts I need to make, one at 14 inches, which is the diameter of the vacuum drum, and that's going to set down into this recess so that it doesn't slide off. And then the other diameter is the outside cut, which is about 18 inches. So I had to come up with something to do that, and what I came up with was this. This is infinitely adjustable, and it fits on the two 10 millimeter rods that come with the router. And if I wanted to, go longer, the diameter of the circle would only be limited by the length of the rods. So the rods that come with the router, the accessory pack, are long enough for me. I can cut anywhere from a 10-inch to about a 24-inch diameter. And all I did to build this jig was use a piece of hard maple here, a carriage bolt that's recessed into the bottom, because this is going to be flush with the base here, and then into that I can set this pin, which is just a 1/4-inch bolt cut off, and then I threaded the hard maple with 1/4-20 threads. I tell you. So I put a taper on this pin, and I've got to thread this all the way down in there. Two 10 millimeter cutouts or recesses for these rods, slightly, I'd probably guess that they're about 9 millimeters deep, and then they are 110 millimeters on center. So I'm not the greatest metric guy, so I just set my dial caliper, my digital caliper I should say, to 110 millimeters, and then move my stop on my miter gauge, along with using the kerf maker. I was able to get a perfect setup here, and it moves nice and freely on those rods. Then when I get to wherever I want to lock it, dial my knob in here, and that's not going anywhere. So the other thing I guess I'll tell you is that this is just a woodpecker's knob that takes a 1/4-20 nut, but I put a nylock in here so that once I lock it, I know that this is not going to vibrate loose or get bumped loose either while I'm using the router, because once you set that diameter, you don't want to lose it, while you're working. So that's it. Pretty simple jig, but I think it's going to be very useful. So I can use it in two ways. I can put the pin on the outside, or just rotate it and put the pin on the inside to get a smaller diameter. So I'm going to get I'm gonna put it on the outside for now. I'm gonna get set up, and then we'll lock this thing down, and we'll see how it's gonna work on my base plate there.